Hey fish friends, Zenzo with Tazawa Tanks, back with another video. A little bit different this time. It's probably the first time you've seen me on camera, or my face at least. You've seen my arms and my back when I was doing an unboxing and putting fish in tanks, etc. But talk a little bit about why I'm on camera. But really I want to kind of jump into what this video is about. And the topic is what I love about the hobby. And also going to talk real briefly about aquarium lighting. Not necessarily the lights in the aquarium, but lights around your equipment. In fact, the Inquisitive Fish guy made a video. I think he posted it this morning, and I had made a comment on his video that I had a similar setup under one of my tanks, and he had asked me to show him my lighting, so I told him I'd make a quick little video, and then I would put a link to his video on there and let him know that it's on there. So in the description below you'll see a link to his video, which is better than mine, but I just thought I'd throw that in there for today's video. So why am I on camera? Well, it's actually not by choice. Couple reasons, a couple reasons why I haven't been on camera. One, I'm a little camera shy. I don't necessarily, it's hard enough to hear my own voice on video, let alone see my face and etc. So I've always kind of stayed away from posting videos with my image and etc. on there. But the reason why is my wife she sees me watching videos all the time on YouTube, watching other YouTubers such as John from Tank Talk, KG Tropicals, of course Corey from Aquarium Co-op. I'm watching a lot of his videos, IFG, Steve Poland, Dustin's Fish Tanks, on and on and on and on and on, right? And all of those YouTubers are very visual, and you know who they are and you could recognize them. But that wasn't really my goal. Anyway, she kind of gave me a hard time, and so I said, okay, well, I'll do a video with my mean mug on there, and if people like it, then I'll try it some more, and if not, then you won't see me again. The other reason is probably more of a self-conscious thing. I had made kind of I think it was a photo of me in front of a fish tank or a client's fish tank, or I made a video or something, but I had posted it in a fish club, a group that I have on Facebook, and a couple of my friends gave me a hard time about the photo, about me looking more like a fitness trainer or bodybuilder or something rather than a fish geek. And so I just thought, well, I don't want to go down that road. But anyway, so here I am. Please at the end comment whether you prefer this style where you get to see someone's face, or if you'd rather just look at a tank, which I think is much more beautiful than looking at my ugly face. But anyway, so I guess this is going to be a shorter video. I always say that and end up talking on and on and on, but I'm not going to get into why I love the hobby as far as how involved I am with doing DIY stuff and building things for the tank and looking for the fish and doing I'm not going to really get into kind of how I got into the hobby and all the things that I love about it. But really what I'm going to talk about is more about the YouTube community and talking about kind of what inspires me. And really, I get inspired by other YouTubers. I get inspired by watching content on other people's channels, learning from it. Sometimes I might disagree with their point of view, but I still think it's a very valid point of view. It's just maybe not something that I practice myself. But I feel like there's so much to learn from so many people, and I've taken little bits and pieces from everybody. I've learned a whole bunch from John on KG Tropicals, specifically because I'm really into keeping African cichlids. YouTubers like Steve Poland, for example, I'm really into some of his builds and his fish room down below. IFG, I've started watching his channel recently, and he's got a lot of great content. Rachel O'Leary, who Some of you, I'm sure many of you are familiar with her and her aquascaping and she gets really into some of the smaller fish. In this tank, which you can't see, I've got a bunch of shell dwellers, which she's also into. Corey from Aquarium Co-op is probably, many would consider to be the professor, or I do at least, and I had a chance of meeting him a couple weeks ago up in Seattle at his store. And but anyway, I get inspired by all of the different YouTubers in the fish keeping hobby, and really that's what I love about this hobby. I love the fact that I can post a video and someone from Canada or Texas or Florida makes a comment on the video, or likes the video and shares some information about their experiences, and I just think that it's a very nice, close-knit community. I do have other hobbies, and those hobbies also have huge YouTube following. In fact, probably a much larger kind of segment of popularity than fish keeping. One of those is I'm really into fitness, powerlifting, power building, not really bodybuilding so much, but whatever you want to call it. I'm really into the fitness side of things, and I'm kind of semi-training for some powerlifting competitions up and coming. But and I say semi because I am going to be doing some competitions this year. I've already figured out what class I'm going to compete in. I've already figured out kind of what I want my 3 lifts to be. I just haven't committed to a date. So, but anyway, regardless, that community is a lot different. It's so huge. I find that to be, there's a lot of very knowledgeable people in that community as far as the fitness community is concerned on YouTube, but there's a lot of ego there. It's not as much of a community feel. There's a lot more animosity, a lot of fighting and bickering, and it's not as harmonious as, let's say, the fish keeping hobby is. And of course, on various forums and YouTube groups, you see the comments from the haters, and people will bash others for keeping too many fish in a tank, or Oscar can't live in a 55, Oscar needs a 300-gallon tank, or whatever. I mean, we've all seen those comments, but for the most part I think we do a really good job. And that kind of brings me to the topic for today, and what, besides my wife kind of giving me a hard time about not being in front of the camera, and then also the reason why I'm wearing this t-shirt. So I don't know if you've seen the video that Joey first posted earlier today. If you're not familiar with Joey, I'll put a link to his, and I'm sure you are, because he's probably the most famous fish keeping YouTuber out there, along with John and Corey, etc. But if you don't know, Joey is he's called the King of DIY. That's the name of his channel. And he has a tremendous amount of experience and knowledge that he shares with hundreds of thousands of people in regards to the fish keeping hobby, how to build your own equipment. The stand that I'm sitting next to right here, I watched one of his videos and learned how to make that stand. The overflow that I have in this tank for the sump down below is one of his designs that I learned from. In fact, even this background, even though I had the idea in my head for many years, probably going back, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago when I had this idea about this background, which I'm going to be changing, but that's another video. I watched his video and got some inspiration from there as well. So anyway, if you don't know, Joey has built a tremendous, soon to be tremendous facility on his property next to his home, and it's a fish house. Basically, it's a small, it's a building that resembles a small house, and it's going to have like a 2,100 gallon freshwater tank for his rays and arowana, etc. He's going to have a bunch of racks of 120 gallon tanks and 375 gallon planted tanks, etc. But anyway, it's going to be really interesting. And because I've been watching this video for so long, and because I have learned a lot, I wanted to give back. And today, in his video, he had come up against a pretty big financial burden due to this hobby, which we've all encountered. I'm guilty of it myself, not to that scale. And he actually kind of, not a plea, but just kind of shared his challenges that he's facing most recently. And because a lot of us have learned from him and have furthered our knowledge in the fish keeping hobby and maybe benefited benefited, you know, from it. Like for example, me learning how to build an overflow out of PVC saved me from having to try and drill this tank, which who knows, it could have been a disaster and I could have broken a tank, or having to buy an overflow box, etc. So anyway, I mean, it saved me money, as did the stand for my Tanganyika tank here. So I didn't have to buy a stand or figure out some hokey way of making one. I watched his videos, it saved me a ton of money, didn't spend very much on materials. My wife got me a table saw for Christmas, so I had everything I needed. So anyway, so I made a donation to his GoFundMe campaign, and I'll put a link to his video down. I won't put a link to his GoFundMe page, but I'll put a link to his video, and his video has a link to his GoFundMe page if you haven't seen it already. But anyway, so I got this shirt, I don't know, a couple months ago, or a month ago, or whenever he did his thing, and it's just, yeah, you can tease me about the V-neck. I like V-necks. Yeah, it's a little extra medium, extra tight, right? But anyway, so I made a contribution, and for me it felt like the right thing to do to help him, and to kind of continue that camaraderie that we have in the industry. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and flip it around, or pause, and do a quick little video of some lighting under the couple of my tanks, I guess I'll do, just to kind of show you how to light the underside of your aquariums as needed. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please feel free to comment. Tell me if you like this, if you don't like it, if you'd rather just, you know, see a picture of my shell dwellers, or my Mbuna tank, or the fish room, or, you know, it's not really a fish room, it's a basement with a bunch of tanks in there for quarantine and stuff like that. But you know, if you'd rather just see tanks rather than me talking to camera. But anyway, please feel free to like, subscribe, comment, feedback, positive, negative, all of the above. I do try to respond to all of them, and I don't have a lot of followers, so it's not like there's a whole bunch of comments to respond to. But I do, you know, I do like to hear the criticism as well. So, you know, a video I posted recently, a commenter had noted about one of my fish being bullied, and I had to explain that the original fish was in this tank and it's in the other tank, and it wasn't bullied in that tank. But still, it's just someone that's aware that there's a problem in my tank. Last year I had a smaller tank set up for shell dwellers, and I had made a video. It might have been an unboxing, or I don't know what it was, but one of the viewers had noted that my tank was off center, and that the water level was off. It was only off by a couple millimeters. It wasn't very much, but it was noticeable on camera because you could see the water line to the rim. And I thanked that person for catching that, and I shimmed up the stand, and it was very minimal. It was braced to the wall anyway with earthquake straps, because we're out here in San Francisco, California. We've got earthquakes, so you got to be prepared for that kind of stuff. So anyway, I will also, as I said before, I'll put a link to IFG's video down below, as well as his DIY kind of LED lights for under the tank was a little bit better than mine. But anyway, thanks for watching, and talk to you next time. All right, quick little part about lighting. It's very important to be able to see underneath your stands so that you can see your equipment, as well as any supplies that you might have stored under your tank. So just real quickly about this one. In this tank I have a sump with a refugium with some pothos growing, and obviously that needs lighting. So I have a light set up here with a small CFL bulb, very small wattage, which is just enough for the plants. And I have this set up on a timer. So I think it's that timer right there. So it kicks on at the same time every day, kicks on at the same time every evening. You could do something very similar by just wiring up a little light, putting it on a very simple, you know, $3 timer. Or you can just wire something up and have a little lamp down there that you can switch on and off. So nothing earth-shattering about this one at all. All right, well, here's the reason that I'm adding this little portion. Is IFG made a video about this today. This is just a little simple adhesive LED light, just a little small light that you can buy, sorry about the brightness, that you can buy at hardware stores. These are great to put in small spaces like safes and cabinets, etc. But as you can see, I just have mine attached to the door, so I can go down here and be able to see my my canister filter, my my timers, etc. And if I need to get down here for anything, probably a better setup would be to place this underneath right here, so you would just reach up and click it. You'd have kind of overhead lighting. I might move it, but for now it's working well just here on the door. And these you can pick up at the hardware store for, I don't know, $7 or $8. They're pretty inexpensive. They just run on AAA batteries. It's just an adhesive, and then it pops off, and then you just pop it back on, and you can use it. So anyway, that is, I see, wow, it's cool. You can see the 3 batteries in there. But anyway, that's all I wanted to show for kind of the LED lighting trick. And I will, like I said before, I'll put a link to IFG's channel so you can see his lighting. Thanks for watching. Talk to you guys next time.